Hello, future engineers, subscribers, viewers, and students. Here is a video in plane geometry 2, and we'll discuss about the following principles and formulas for rectangles, trapezoids, parallelogram, rhombus, arcs, secants, tangents, chords, and common internal and external tangents, polygons, and miscellaneous figures. But in this video, because it is lengthy, if I'm going to discuss all, I'll I plan to divide this into two parts. And the first part is here. We'll take up to arcs, secants, tangents, and chords. So rectangles, trapezoids, parallelogram, rhombus, arcs, secants, tangents, and chords, then common internal external tangents, and in the second part let's have the polygons and miscellaneous figures. So first, rectangles. You know that the area of a rectangle is the product of length and width, or length and height. The perimeter is the sum of the sides, so it is 2 times quantity L plus width. When the length is equal to the width, and we'll denote that by S, the rectangle reduces to a square, the area of which is S squared, and the perimeter is 4S. For trapezoids, we divide it into two triangles, and remember that the area of triangle is 1/2 base times height, the basic formula. So it is a quadrilateral with two opposite sides parallel. When the non-parallel sides are equal, then it is called an isosceles trapezoid. So this is a trapezoid in general. A and B are parallel but not equal. So we're going to divide this trapezoid into two parts. One is a parallelogram. The area of the parallelogram is just base times height. We can show that it is like a rectangle with base B and height H. So we divide the trapezoid into these two parts here. That's the area, 1/2 of quantity A plus B times H. Then if we draw a line parallel to CD, then we have here a parallelogram and a triangle. This base of the triangle would be B minus A, and that's it. And since this length is equal to that length, that's the height. So the area of trapezoid is like, if we divide the trapezoid into two parts by that diagonal, the area of the upper triangle would be 1/2 AH, while the area of the lower triangle ACD would be 1/2 BH. So combining, that's why we have 1/2 of quantity A plus B times H, where 1/2 of A plus B is the length of the median. That is the length of the line segment joining the midpoints of the non-parallel sides. And the length of that is the average of these parallel sides. So we interpret this area of trapezoid as the median times altitude. So again, this is B minus A, and this angle measure is denoted by alpha. This angle, because these two sides are parallel, is beta. So that B minus A is this length plus that length, where this length is H cotangent alpha. This right portion of the base of the triangle is H cotangent beta. So B minus A is H cotangent alpha plus H cotangent beta. So replacing H by that value, then we can arrive at the formula of the area of a trapezoid as in terms of alpha and beta, of course, as b squared minus a squared all over 2 quantity cotangent of alpha plus cotangent of beta. So that would be the result after we replace h by this value. You don't need to memorize. You can analyze a trapezoid if alpha and beta are known. So again, if we have to connect the midpoints of the non-parallel sides, then the length of that would be average of a plus b, or it is the midjump. So 1/2 of a plus b. That's why the area is 1/2 quantity a plus b, or midjump times sine. Then, when you are confronted with a trapezoid, and we have the length of the dividing line, not the midjump anymore, such that the area is divided into 2 parts. The upper part is n, the lower part is n, area 2. So the length is equal to square root of, so that's how the division of areas. So it is equal to square root of m and b squared. Take note that n is away from b and n is away from a. So that's my mnemonic aid of memorizing the formula. Although the best way to recall the formula is to derive that formula. It is derived on the next slide. So again, it is square root of mb squared plus na squared all over m plus n. So that's the expression. We're going to derive that on the next slide. So, as promised, let's derive that formula for the length of the dividing line of a trapezoid such that the area is divided to m by n parts, where the length of the dividing line is parallel to the parallel sides. So we'll call that m part, this is n part, and the altitude of the upper trapezoid as h1, lower trapezoid h2, the overall height h. Then we draw this line parallel to that side, so that this is, if this is b minus a, this is x minus a. So x minus a, because this is now a parallelogram. So that's b minus x, and that is x minus a. So therefore, area of upper trapezoid, 1/2 of quantity a plus x. Then we have the height h1. This is h2. The overall height is h. So m over m plus n, the total area is area of the upper trapezoid, 1/2 of quantity a plus x times h1, while the area of the entire trapezoid, which represents m plus n, 1/2 of a plus b times h. Then by similar triangles, here, this triangle here, we have h1 as to x minus a equals h as to b minus a. So expressing h1 in terms of the rest. So we have h1 equals h1 by similar triangles. By the way, you can reduce this into after we cancel out 1/2 into this. So by similar triangle, h1 as to x minus a equals h as to b minus a. So that means h1 is equal to x minus a times h divided by b minus a. We then substitute the value of h1 here. So m over m plus n equals quantity a plus x times h1, which is x minus a h over b minus a, all over quantity a plus b times h. So take note that this is also x minus a, and this denominator can be written as b minus a. So we can cancel h at the same time. So that would be m over m plus n equals x squared minus a squared over b squared minus a squared. Then we cross multiply, you have mb squared minus ma squared equals quantity m plus n times x squared, then minus ma squared minus na squared. So mb squared minus ma squared equals quantity m plus n times x squared, then minus a squared n minus a squared n, or na squared. So we can cancel out ma squared, negative ma squared, put this to the left, so we have mb squared plus na squared equals quantity m plus n x squared. Finally, we can now derive the formula for x by extracting square root. So x is square root of m quantity m b squared plus na squared over m plus n. So that's the proof of that formula. So we then proceed to parallelogram and rhombus. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral, the opposite sides of which are equal and parallel. So recall for area of quadrilateral, so let's have the long diagonal and the short diagonal in the figure. That's the height h. The area is just bh. If we drop a vertical here, this triangle here, then fill in this part, then it is a rectangle. The area of rectangle is dh. So true for parallelogram. So call that theta. That's also theta. This is also theta. Area is of parallelogram is base times height. And if the height is replaced by, imagine this is the height, a sine theta, we have a right triangle again form. Hypotenuse is a. Opposite is a sine theta, replacing h by a sine theta. So the area of parallelogram is AB sine theta. Because this is also AB sine theta, remember that the area of triangle is 1/2 product of adjacent sides, 1/2 AB sine theta, and another 1/2 AB sine theta. That's why it is AB sine theta, the other way of explaining it. Now, if the angle formed between the diagonals is T, that is also T. For the other angle, this is 180 degrees minus T. And since area is 1/2 the product of the diagonals from, remember, from area of quadrilateral, we also showed that the area is 1/2 the product of the diagonals times the sine of the angle formed between the diagonals, whether that angle is acute or obtuse, or its supplement, doesn't matter. And these are the properties of parallelogram. So the diagonals bisect each other at their point of intersection. That is, this is half of diagonal 1, half of diagonal 1, half of diagonal 2, half of diagonal 2. So diagonal 1 over 2, diagonal 2 over 2, diagonal 2 over 2. So the next property, the opposite angles are equal, but the adjacent angles are supplementary. Because this is also theta, this is 180 degrees minus theta. Opposite angles equal, so that's also 180 degrees minus theta. So adjacent angles are supplementary. So that's 180 degrees minus theta, 180 degrees minus theta. Then the diagonal is long if it is greater than the square root of a squared plus b squared. Of course, if it is longer than the square root of a squared plus b squared, remember that's longer, and it is the long diagonal. This one. This is long diagonal because it is greater than a squared plus b squared. Where a squared plus b squared would be somewhat shorter. Otherwise, the diagonal is short. Then this parallelogram reduces to a rhombus when all sides are equal. So it is a parallelogram with all sides equal. And here is the fact. We can use these formulas here. Now we replace, it still be base times side. And if we replace this as b, then this second formula becomes b squared sine theta. And this time, since the diagonal bisect each other, they are also perpendicular to each other. That's 90. Therefore, Pythagoras theorem applies as diagonal 1 over 2 square plus diagonal 2 over 2 square equals side square b square. So area BH, b square sine theta, then it becomes 1/2 diagonal 1 diagonal 2. Because the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular to each other this time. So the diagonals also bisect the vertex angles for a rhombus. So if this is theta over 2, that's also theta over 2. 180 degrees minus theta over 2, or 90 degrees minus theta over 2. Because this was 180 degrees minus theta, half that is 90 degrees minus theta over 2, which proves also that this triangle is right. So tangent theta over 2 is equal to diagonal 1 over 2 over diagonal 2 over 2, or short diagonal over 2 divided by long diagonal over 2, or simply short diagonal over long diagonal, tangent theta over 2. While tangent alpha over 2 is long diagonal over short diagonal, or simply 90 degrees minus theta over 2. And we can apply Pythagoras theorem because the diagonals of the rhombus bisect each other. We then proceed to arcs. Remember the principle we left out in trigonometry, that if the peripheral angle subtends an arc of a circle through an angle alpha, as shown, the corresponding central angle is double that angle. And if we position to another point on the circumference periphery of the circle, except on the arc, then the angle is maintained alpha. We already demonstrated that the limiting position of this point would be the ends of alpha, so that these chords, one of the chords reduces to a tangent line, tangent to the point on the circle. So this is now a tangent line, and this is the other chord. That is, the measure of the angle is also alpha. So remember that the peripheral angle is 1/2 the measure of the subtended arc, or it is 1/2 the measure of the central angle, corresponding central angle. Then chords from a point on the circle to the ends of the diameter are always perpendicular to each other. We already showed this, and we simply apply this principle also, so that we have chords that are perpendicular and they are joined to the ends of the diameter. Because the center is here, the central angle is 180 degrees because it subtends this semicircular arc. This semicircular arc is occupying an angle which is 180 degrees. That's why the measure of this peripheral angle is 1/2 the measure of this subtended arc, which is 180 degrees. So that's why that is 1/2 of 180, 90 degrees. And that is also true for that case, true for this case. This is directly below that point, so that we can use theorems later. So for this situation here, we have intersecting chords of a circle. Then this is also an important theorem in about circles, that the segments of the chord, the product of the segments of the chord AB is equal to the product of the segments of the other CD, the other chord. And to prove this, so AB equals CD, AB equals CD. So that here we have intersecting chords H, that is also H because this lower right triangle is identical with the upper right triangle. Then if I call that B, A times B equals HH or H squared. That's why, remember, the line joining the foot of the 90-degree angle to the opposite end is the mean proportion to the segment it cuts. So H is square root of AB. Or in this case, AB equals H times H or H squared. So H equals square root of AB. So for intersecting chords, the product of their segments is equal. So let's prove that, because you can easily prove this theorem. And to do that, let's have this. We introduce another line segment. And that line segment would be from one end of this chord so that's true that chord from this point to that point and from this point to that point. So considering this point, it subtends this arc here. So if I call this theta 1, then this angle is also theta 1 by the principle above. It also subtends this chord. Likewise, if I call this theta 2, it subtends this arc here. So, which is the same arc subtended by this point. So the inscribed angle is also theta 2. So we have two similar triangles, because if I call this theta, this is also theta. So call that triangle 1 and this triangle 2. So we have opposite of theta 2 as to opposite of theta 1 by similar triangles. Opposite of theta 2 in triangle 1 is C, while opposite of theta 1 in the upper triangle is B. Then in the lower triangle, opposite of theta 2 is A. This is by similar triangles. And opposite of theta 1 is D. So by cross multiplication, AB equals CD. So that's the proof of that theorem. Then let's consider uh, intersecting tangents, and we use the principle of arcs here to prove some of the facts about intersecting tangents. So one here, we have the first tangent, another tangent. So because they are tangent to the circle, their lengths are equal. So that is, if we call that point the following points, and the angle formed between the tangent is theta. By the way, TA equals PB. We note that TA equals PB, and because we draw a line from A, this point here, this line is parallel to the tangent PB, so the measure of this angle here would also be theta. And let's introduce this point as C. So theta subtends arc AC. So theta is 1/2 arc AC by the principle here. And AC is equal to arc ACB minus arc CB. So 1/2 of arc ACB minus arc CB. We then note that arc CB is equal to arc AB. So we replace that by arc AB. Arc CB is arc AB. Then read this simply, the angle formed between tangents is equal to the difference of the subtended arcs. So 1/2 the difference of the subtended arcs. We have longer arc ACB and shorter arc AB. So the measure of theta is 1/2 of the measure of the angles occupied by those arcs, major and shorter arc, smaller arc. So that's the statement. The angle between the tangents is 1/2 the difference of the measure of the intersected arcs. That would be expressed in degrees. And take note that the sum of the subtended arcs is 360 degrees. But that's the difference, not the sum. So let's continue that on the next slide. We then have intersecting seconds here. So we call PA and PB seconds. Those are second lines. This time, the angle between seconds is theta. Let's derive value of theta and some properties here. So by principle, theta, we draw a line parallel to DB first through C, so that the measure of this angle is also theta. Between the angle ACE is theta, because this is just parallel to that second. So by principle, theta is 1/2 arc AE. So by the way, we call PC and PD as external seconds. So theta is 1/2 arc AE, and arc AE is equal to arc AEB minus arc EB. We then note that arc EB is equal to arc CD, so we replace that by arc CD. And we interpret the result as theta is simply 1/2 the difference, the measure of the difference between the subtended arcs. So we have two arcs here, AB, subtended by the seconds, and this smaller arc CD. So theta is 1/2 the difference of the arcs, subtended arcs, AEB and CD. Or in short, this arc occupies a certain angle minus this arc here, which also occupies a certain angle. 1/2 of their difference is the measure of theta. That's the meaning of that. Then we have here the law of seconds, which we will also prove that the product of the external secant and the secant of one is equal to the product of the external secant and the secant of the other. So it's easy to remember. The product of the external secant and the secant itself is equal to the product of the external secant of the other and the secant, the other secant, PB. So that's the interpretation. So to prove, then we draw these chords AD and CD. And I'll call this angle, the measure of this angle, as alpha. This is already given theta. So this angle here is 180 degrees minus theta minus alpha. Likewise, if we draw this triangle here, PBC, this is also alpha because it subtends the same arc CD, just like at A there. So if that is alpha, this is already theta, then this angle here would be 180 degrees minus theta minus alpha. Likewise, this angle here, considering this triangle APD, is also 180 degrees minus alpha minus theta, or minus theta minus alpha. So we have similar triangles again, and we obtain, so APD and PCD are similar triangles. So if these are similar triangles, we use the ratio opposite of alpha as the opposite of the angle 180 degrees minus theta minus alpha. Then in this triangle APD, opposite of alpha is PD, and the opposite of this angle is PA, equals, in this triangle here, the opposite of alpha is PC, and the opposite of this angle here is PB. So rearranging, cross multiplying, so PA times PC equals PD times PB, which is this law of seconds. Then we consider intersecting secant and tangent. So we have here another circle. We have a secant line and a tangent line, PB. So theta, the angle at P. So we draw a line parallel to PB through point C, so that the measure of this angle is also theta, and the corresponding angle, if needed, is 2 theta, because that proves that theta is 1/2 of arc AD. So theta is 1/2 arc AD, and AD is arc ADB minus DB. We then note that arc BD is also arc BC. So replacing BD by BC, so theta is 1/2 quantity arc ADB minus arc BC. So take note that for this point, we have external secant and tangent intersecting the circle. There are two arcs intercepted, namely arc ADB, the longer arc, and this shorter arc. The difference of that is the measure of theta, which is half of AD. But this is the complete definition, 1/2 the difference of the angles occupied by ADB and BC. So that's the measure of theta. Then we have the extension of the law of seconds, which is PC times PA equals PB times PB. We can prove this by introducing another triangle if you want there, and you can have similar triangles again. So again, I will leave that for you to prove. You just consult this proof here so that you can also prove that. So next we have intersecting chords. So recall that we already proved that the product of the segments of one chord equals the product of the segments of the other chord. Also notice that theta this time is inside. The angle of intersection is theta. And this theta here subtends two arcs. These chords here rather subtends two arcs of the circle. One is long, the other is short. And remember, for the different cases earlier, theta was outside. So by principle, theta is 1/2, because this is also theta. Theta is 1/2 the subtended arc, which is BDE. So 1/2 of arc BDE. And arc BDE is simply the sum of arc BD and DE. Therefore, theta is 1/2 quantity arc BD plus arc AC. Sorry, arc BDE is arc BD plus DE, and we take note that arc DE is equal to arc AC, so that's why theta is 1/2 the 1/2 or the average of the measure of the angle subtended by the arcs BD and AC. So whatever is the angle occupied by arc BD and AC, you add, divide by 2, that is theta. I hope you cannot forget that it's the average of the subtended arcs. Then let's have circles, a circle and its elements. So we have a circle. We have area of circle pi r square, pi over 4 diameter square. You know that already. Circumference pi 2 pi r pi d. This is the center. All points on the circle are equidistant from that center. We have the radius, small r, the diameter, big D, and we have chords, tangent, a line that touches the circle at only one point, and a chord, a segment connecting any 2 points on the circumference. If it crosses, we call that secant line. If end-to-end on the arcs, that's a chord. The longest chord of a circle is the diameter. So that's the definition of the diameter, the longest chord of a circle. Then for other elements, the shaded portion is called segment of a circle, and it subtends that shorter arc. The other arc is major arc. So we have radius, central angle theta. Then this is 2 pi minus theta. That's the major arc. And the measure of the angle here is 2 pi minus theta. So the arc length of the smaller or minor arc, S sub n, is the product of r and theta. You can easily prove that. We can easily prove that. So S as to theta equals circumference of circle, which is 2 pi r as to 2 pi. So S equals r theta. That's for the minor arc. Then for the major arc, radius times quantity central angle 2 pi minus theta, where theta must be in regions for that formula there. So these are the formulas you may not memorize because these are basic. So let's continue. This is the last part. So a sector is a region of the circle bounded by the center, 2 r, and the arc S. So that's a sector. So the central angle is denoted by theta. So to derive the area of a sector, area of sector as to theta equals area of circle pi r square as to 2 pi. So this is 2 pi minus theta also. So area of sector as to area of circle equals theta as to 2 pi. That's why area of sector is 1/2 r squared theta. Theta is in radians. And for the bigger sector, it is 1/2 r squared times quantity 2 pi minus theta. So those are the formulas that can be derived, not memorized. You can easily memorize that if you derive also. So S as to 2 pi r, arc length S as to, when we have a full circle 2 pi r, equals theta as to a full circle 2 pi radians. Those are the formulas that can be derived. So that's why S is radius times theta. Theta is in radians. So that's it. Then for a segment of a circle, we imagine that the area of the segment of a circle is simply area of sector minus area of triangle. So area of sector 1/2 r squared theta. The area of this triangle 1/2 rr or 1/2 r squared times sine of theta. So factor out 1/2 r squared, then we'll have area of segment 1/2 r squared quantity theta minus sine theta. You don't need to memorize. You only need to memorize basic area formulas like sector, the triangle 1/2 product of adjacent sides times sine of included angle. You know that already. So area of big sector or big segment is equal to area of this sector with central angle 2 pi minus theta, then plus area of this triangle, which is 1/2 r squared sine theta. So therefore the area of big segment is 1/2 r squared quantity 2 pi minus sine of theta. Then finally we have common internal and external tangents. So if we have a circle here, distance between their centers d, the bigger circle has radius big R, smaller radius small r. And we have here an internal tangent wherein that is perpendicular to big R. This is also perpendicular to small r. Then we draw a segment parallel to TI here. So a rectangle is formed as shown. Then we have here, because this is 90 degrees, We have here a right triangle, right angle corner here. One leg is big R plus R. The hypotenuse is D. So T sub I is square root of hypotenuse D square minus quantity big R plus small r square. So that's the length. You don't need to memorize. You just draw a figure, then you can analyze supposedly if the common internal tangent is asked. Likewise, for common external tangent, we have another circle. We have an external tangent perpendicular to the radius, respective radius. So that is big R, small r. Then we draw a line equal to T sub E through the center of the smaller circle perpendicular to the radius of the bigger circle. So that is T sub D also. We form this right triangle with hypotenuse D, and this remaining side or leg of this small right triangle is big R minus this, which is equal to small r. So diagonal, so T sub E therefore is square root of D square minus quantity big R minus small r square. You don't need to memorize, you just set up that formula in case you encounter a similar problem. So T sub E equals square root of quantity D square minus quantity big R minus small r square. So that's it for this video. I hope that most of the principles and concepts here are retained, especially the principle, so that you memorize formulas, just a few of them. But it is required that you are able to memorize basic area formulas and also recall the different properties of like intersecting secants, intersecting tangents, secant and tangent, secant law, the law of seconds, external secant times secant of one equals external secant times secant of the other. Then the theorems on circles, and so on and so forth.